Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm gonna do a classic rock reaction. This is Led Zeppelin, man. Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven. And this is going to be the live rendition coming from The Song Remains the Same. And long time coming, man. So many of you, and to the point where I can't even list how many of you have been saying, oh man, can't wait for you to get to this. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. It's so different. It's unique. Yo, man, you guys, you guys got me so damn hyped, boy. Yeah, so been really looking forward to this. Before I kick this off, man, I just want to give a shout out to one of my patrons, Tom Gallup. Tom, thank you very much for the link, man. I appreciate it. And supposedly this is one of the nicer, more clearer links of it. So I trust you with that. Not a problem, man. So yo, let's get this popping, man. Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven from The Song Remains the Same. Stairway to Heaven. Let's get it. Man, let's turn this right up. That looks heavy as hell, that guitar. John Paul Jones.
There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying staring to heaven. And when she gets there, she knows if the stores are all closed, with a word she can get what she came for. And she's buying the stairway to heaven. There's a sign on the wall, but she wants to be sure, 'cause you know sometimes words have two meanings. In a tree by the brook, there's a songbird who sings. Sometimes all of our thoughts are misgiven, and I think you can see that.
Could you imagine being there, man? I got chills, man.
Of smoke through the trees, and the voices of those who stand looking. If we all call the tune, then the piper will lead us to reason. And a new day will dawn for those who stand alone, and the forests will echo with laughter. Does anybody remember laughter?
Still time to change the version.
Wait a minute. Your head is humming. I won't go if you don't know. The piper is calling you to join him. Dear lady, can you hear the wind blow? Your stairway lies on the whisper.
The crowd's awesome. They know when to make noise and when to shut up. This is a nice extended solo. This is awesome. I like how Frank goes in the whole stage. expressions on his face, spirit of his delivery.
Stairway to heaven.
Man, that is every bit as awesome as you guys promised me it would be. Excellent quality. Fantastic, man. These four guys. Yo. Man, they were touched with something, you know? And I wonder, as a Led Zeppelin fan back then, did you know how special these guys were? I'm talking to Led Zeppelin fans from way back. When these guys came on the scene, when did it dawn on you that, man, these guys are they're really, really special. Not just gifted, but they're special. And when did that dawn on you? What album, what song, where were you in the timeline when this dawned on you? Was it the first song? Was it the first album? When did it dawn on you that these guys are really, really special? You've got good bands, you've got great bands, and then you've got special artists, special bands. These guys are special. When did it dawn on you that these guys were special? Or was it in a time period where music was so damn good, everybody was in the zone, it was just so fantastic that you didn't realize how great it was, and that you might have taken it for granted? Was that also maybe a factor? I like to connect to the timeline. I like to connect to the conditions, the circumstances, all of these things that create a fantastic artist, all of these things that create a terrific song. And I learned just as much from you guys, how you feel, where you were in your life, all of that sort of thing. When you write comments to me, include all of that, because it gives me a really good idea of what was happening back then. Take this damn thing off, man. I got an echo going on. Yo, man, yeah. So let me know where you were back then in your minds as to how these guys fit into your life, how special they were to you, or were they just, hey, another grouping among good bands or whatever the case is. You know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, man, let me not go off on a talking rant here, man. I want to get into a little bit of background on the song. And so what I'm going to do here, man, is I'm just going to do a modified read on the history of the band. You've heard me do this quite often. If you're a brand new man and you're finding me for the first time, what I usually do is I'll read introducing the band and then some song info. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to scalp a lot of the intro of the band and just get into song info. I'm sure that a song like this has a tremendous amount of history. So let's get it, man. Let's introduce the band here. So Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin were an English rock band formed in London in 1968. The group consisted of guitarist Jimmy Page, singer Robert Plant, bassist and keyboardist John Paul Jones, and drummer John Bonham. The band's heavy guitar-driven sound has led them to be cited as one of the progenitors of heavy metal. Their style drew from a wide variety of influences, including blues, psychedelia, and folk music. Led Zeppelin are widely considered one of the most successful, innovative, and influential rock groups in history. They are one of the best-selling music artists in the history of audio recording. Various sources estimate the group's record sales at 200 to 300 million units worldwide. With RIAA certified sales of 111.5 million units, they are the third best-selling band in the US. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1995. The museum's biography of the band states that they were as influential during the 1970s as the Beatles were during the 1960s. Masterful accomplishment. Alright, man. So that's the intro of the band. And let's do a little background history of the song, man. Okay, so there's my page. Stairway to Heaven. Stairway to Heaven is a song by English rock band Led Zeppelin, released in late 1971. It was composed by guitarist Jimmy Page and vocalist Robert Plant for the band's untitled fourth studio album, often called Led Zeppelin 4. It's often referred to as one of the greatest rock songs of all time. The song has 3 sections, each one progressively increasing in tempo and volume. The song begins in a slow tempo with acoustic instruments, before introducing electric instruments. The final section is an up-tempo hard rock arrangement, highlighted by Page's intricate guitar solo, considered by many to be one of the greatest ever, accompanying Plant's vocals that ended with the plaintive a cappella line, quote, "And she's buying a stairway to heaven," unquote. Stairway to Heaven was voted number 3 in 2000 by VH1 on its list of the 100 greatest songs of all time, and was placed at number 31 on Rolling Stone's 500 greatest songs of all time. It was the most requested song on FM radio stations in the United States in the 1970s, despite never having been commercially released as a single. In November 2007, through download sales promoting Led Zeppelin's mothership release, Stairway to Heaven hit number 37 on the UK singles chart. Wow, even after all those years. The song originated in 1970 when Jimmy Page and Robert Plant were spending time at Bron-Yr, a remote cottage in Wales, following Led Zeppelin's fifth American concert tour. According to Page, he wrote the music over a long period, the first part coming up Bron-Yr one night. Page always kept a cassette recorder around, and the idea for Stairway came together from bits of tape music. The first attempt at lyrics, written by Robert Plant, next to an evening log fire at Headley Grange, were partly spontaneous and improvised, and Page claimed a huge percentage of the lyrics were written there and then. Jimmy Page was strumming the chords, and Robert Plant had a pencil and paper. Robert Plant recalled writing the lyrics in a flash of inspiration. Said Plant, quote, "I was holding a pencil and paper, and for some reason I was in a very bad mood. Then all of a sudden my hand was writing out the words. There's a lady who's sure, all that glitters is gold, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. I just looked at it for a while, at the words, and then I almost leapt out of my seat." Jimmy Page has a strong affinity for this song and felt Robert Plant's lyrics were his best yet. He had him write all of Zeppelin's lyrics from then on. In an interview with Cameron Crowe, March 13, 1975, Crowe asked Jimmy Page how important Stairway to Heaven was to him. Page replied, quote, "To me, I thought Stairway crystallized the essence of the band. It had everything there and showed the band at its best, as a band, as a unit. Not talking about solos or anything. It had everything there. We were careful never to release it as a single. It was a milestone for us. Every musician wants to do something of lasting quality, something which will hold up for a long time, and I guess we did that with Stairway. Townshend probably thought that he got that with Tommy. I don't know whether I have the ability to come up with more. I have to do a lot of hard work before I can get anywhere near those stages of consistent, total brilliance," unquote. That's coming from Jimmy Page. Yeah, paying the price and sacrifice, man. The complete studio recording was released on Led Zeppelin 4 in November 1971. The band's record label, Atlantic Records, was keen to issue this track as a single, but the band's manager, Peter Grant, refused requests to do so in both 72 and 73. This led many people to buy the fourth album as if it were a single. Fantastic. Peter Grant. Success and legacy. Stairway to Heaven is often rated among the greatest rock songs of all time. According to music journalist Stephen Davis, although the song was released in 71, it took until 73 before the song's popularity ascended to truly anthemic status. As Page himself recalled, quote, "I knew it was good, but I didn't know it was going to be almost like an anthem. But I knew it was a gem of the album for sure," unquote. So, okay, last note, legacy. So Stairway to Heaven continues to top radio list of the greatest rock songs, including 2006 Guitar World's Reader's Polls of greatest guitar solos. On the 20th anniversary of the original release of the song, it was announced via radio sources that the song had logged up to estimated 2,874,000 radio plays, back to back. That would run for 44 years solid. As of 2000, the song had been broadcast on radio over 3 million times. In 1990, a St. Petersburg, Florida station kicked off its all Led Zeppelin format by playing Stairway to Heaven for 24 hours straight. It is also the biggest selling single piece of sheet music in rock history, clocking up an average of 15,000 copies yearly. In total, over 1 million copies have been sold. And that's as of 2000. Okay, man. Yo. That is Wikipedia Song Fact Info on this fantastic song, this amazing song. I love the story of its origins, how these guys were inspired to write this and how it came about. Of course, it was coming about from two different areas. From Page's point of view, having a lot of music, long-standing music from a long period of time, and it kind of developing slowly, I guess, the harmony, and then Page with the lyrics, getting that inspiration come to him. I like the foundation, though, of what went into creating such a song. Foundation meaning that these guys, so dedicated in their focus that they removed themselves for a while to go into the country and stay at the cottage and removed all distractions and just connected to their inner selves, their higher selves, their subconscious, whatever it is that they were connecting to be able to create all of these fantastic songs. I know that songs came about from Led Zeppelin 3 and 4, and that takes a certain amount of dedication. It also takes a certain amount of sacrifice, the will to sacrifice time away from friends, family, your life, to seek out this great inspiration. And man, I gotta give them props. So you can always say that, yo, these guys were gifted, they were meant to jam together, play together, they had a touch of this. I often describe them as having talent on loan from God, which is true, but they put in the time, they put in the work, they earned their success, they earned what was afforded to them in the way of accolades and praise and all of these different things. They sacrificed the time and they put in the hard work. So yo man, I gotta give these guys props all around. Yes, for their natural gifts. Yes, for their Page has an almost I don't know, telepathic connection to the industry and to his instrument and to the people, the way he's conveying himself, the spirit of his delivery, man. I was just looking at his face when he was playing the music. He had his eyes closed a lot of the times, and the expression on his face, it was just connecting to something else as he was playing. I love that, man. You know, like I said, the guy is not probably the most technically trained guitarist, or in all of these different ways he might not be number one, but he's my personal favorite because of the spirit of his delivery. He's just connected to something, and he conveys that better than almost anyone that I've seen so far. I got a lot of musicians to acquaint myself with, but so far he is not my favorite musician, but he's certainly my favorite guitarist, and that is why. Anyway, man, where does this song rank among your favorite songs? You could categorize it as favorite Led Zeppelin songs or favorite songs overall. Let me put it at you like this, being very, very careful not to offend anyone. Led Zeppelin fans are very, very particular, I've discovered. And if I make any mistakes, I really, really hear about it. You know, for example, I thought that When the Levee Breaks was following Battle of Evermore. Yo, I got some correction there. I had the nerve to ask for a top 10 list. Again, I got myself corrected. So there are certain things among Led Zeppelin fans that I'm learning that you have to be very careful with. So here's the question. Where does this song rank among your favorite songs? Your favorite rock songs of all time? Or you can categorize it as your favorite Led Zeppelin songs or your favorite rock songs overall. Now, I believe there's a difference. And let me put it to you like this. So far in my rock exploration, my favorite rock and roll song to date is Sunshine of Your Love by Cream. This song, Stairway to Heaven, ranks as one of the greatest rock songs to me. However, Sunshine of Your Love so far is my favorite rock song. You know what I'm saying? So there's a slight difference there. But anyway, man, overall, I say that it's definitely in the top 5, top 3 greatest rock songs of all time. And just for the legendary status of it, just for the way it came about, the way it came into being, and how many people it's influenced, I would not argue that it is indeed the greatest rock song of all time. May not be my personal favorite, but yes, I will definitely say without a doubt that it is the greatest rock song of all time. So where do you put that? You understand what I'm trying to do? Where do you put that in that variance? Is it your personal favorite, or is it, do you rank it as being the greatest of all time? And tell me why, right? I want to connect to your brain as to why. So kind of sort that out for me. Fantastic song. That's all I'm going to say. I could talk about it forever, but let's not do that. I'm going to scroll down here real quick before I bounce, and I want to make sure that I've got everything covered. Going down to my notes. Okay, so first off, thank you again, Tom, for the link. I appreciate it. And I do have a note here. Patreon exclusive. Okay, Patreon exclusive. Recently, I have started kind of like a new category of reactions, specifically catering to my patrons, and it's called the Patreon exclusive. A number of you subscribers and visitors of whatnot, I realize you visit my Patreon to take a look to see what's coming up next, because most of the time my reactions, I'll post it to Patreon first, and then a couple of days, couple of weeks later, or what have you, I'll then release it to Vimeo, release it to YouTube. So a number of you actually visit my Patreon page just to see what's coming up. I get that. So now I've got a couple of questions coming from a number of folks saying, so what is this Patreon exclusive feature that you're doing? So just an answer to it. I was basically, this is just a way from me to say thank you to my patrons for being patrons. I wanted to do something special for my patrons, and I've been thinking about it for quite a while. So what I came up with was, I am going to do some exclusive live reactions for my patrons, and basically just keep it exclusive to my patrons. You know, they're special people who have helped me out with my Vimeo subscription, some of the expenses for running this channel. So I just wanted to do something special for these group of folks. I'm sure you understand that. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be doing some live reactions. I've already started, and this actually is a part of the Patreon exclusive, this reaction, which I'm sharing with everyone. But if you want to wrap your head around what exactly it is, I'm going to link in the description my patron address as to what it is that I'm doing, and you know how it's going to be broken down, and also my first reaction, my first live reaction. You can take a look and see how that format works. It was One Way Out from the Allman Brothers Band. It was their Fillmore East performance, I guess one of the best live performances in rock and roll history. So I'm going to be following a couple of exclusive reactions like that, the Allman Brothers, the Grateful Dead, some of the Led Zeppelin content. So check it out. I'm going to link that in the description, and you can take a look at what it looks like and what the format is. So it's an address. The first link is the address to my patrons, and then the second link is the first reaction that I did for the Patreon exclusive, just so you see what I'm doing and what it looks like. This is in no way any kind of a marketing incentive for you to join Patreon. You don't have to join my Patreon. You don't have to be a patron, you know, but it's just to answer the questions as to what is it and what I'm up to and who's it for and that sort of thing. So check out those links and it'll fill in all of those questions. Okay. All right, man. So back to this song. Fantastic song, man. Absolutely one of the greatest songs ever. And their inspiration in how this song came about is what I like the most. I like the story behind the song, and looking at all of the different pains and sacrifices that it took to get this song to us, including their manager Peter Grant being a very, very strong champion, saying no, this will not be released as a single, it's an album only, you know. So they had all of these elements in place to really promote the song to the height of where it is. So that is what really, really impresses me about the background of a particular song, the pains and the sacrifices and all of the different challenges that the artist had to overcome to get that song to us. That's what I really, really like. That's the juice of the fiber that I really feed on. So anyway, man, hope you like this reaction, and I'll definitely continue with Led Zeppelin 4. I've been quite busy with my job. I do have all of my Led Zeppelin 4 reactions shot already. It's just a matter of getting my butt into gear and actually editing and uploading. So I'll get to those as soon as I can. I love the whole album, but I'm only going to go from one to another. So look for my next Led Zeppelin upload probably in a 4 to 5 days or something like that. So thanks for joining me, man. Have yourselves a good day. Check out my links in the description. There's a really excellent reaction there of the Allman Brothers. I'm sure you're gonna like it, and I'll catch you in my next Led Zeppelin reaction. Peace out.